Took a trip down memory lane. Life was on course, now it's a crashing plane. Someone please help.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Matt Santos of the Mile High Show. You are listening to episode number 181. I am recording this intro sitting in the window table at the Raven Cafe on Cortez Street in Prescott. Check them out. Thank you to the good folks at the Raven for letting me take up space here. Check them out at ravencafe.com. Again, they are at on Cortez Street, right off of the Courthouse Square. It's a great venue for local music. It is a great spot to hang out and have lunch, which I just did. I had the turkey panini. It was extremely good with some fries. They have a huge selection of beer and wine, and they are also one of the largest supporters of local artists in our area, both musical and visual artists. Their walls are filled with local artwork. I'm sitting underneath two naked people right now, actually. A very large portrait of two naked people on the wall over my shoulder. Kind of makes me a little uncomfortable because I out of the corner of my eye, it looks like I'm about to be attacked by a large naked woman. But the artwork is extraordinary. The music that they present here is some of the best in the Southwest. So check out ravencafe.com and stop by and see them on Cortez Street in Prescott, Arizona. Now, okay, we got that one commercial out of the way. One more commercial, and then we'll get to it. Use that Amazon link at milehighshow.com for all your online shopping. It's a way to support us, support the show, and support the artists that we highlight, like the ones we will be talking with today. I'm not sure if I'm going to run this as a single episode, or I might split it up because it is fairly long. Well, you'll have to wait and see. You'll be as surprised as I am. I sat down with four separate performers, a couple of solo acts, and two musical groups for an upcoming benefit show put on by local photographer, local musician, Mr. David Cottle, and his organization, Music United. Now, to get a pen and paper out, August 4th at the Boys and Girls Club of Central Arizona, 335 East Aubrey Street. You can search in your Facebook feed under Concert Against Teen Bullying and Suicide. That is the show happening on August 4th, featuring some of, among others, the guests that I have on today's show. Dave has put this together to raise awareness and raise a few bucks for a very serious problem that is taking place across the country, but it has hit home to the Prescott area and the Phoenix area with folks that Dave and his family know who have died from suicide recently. So he wanted to shine a little light on it and also shine a light on some of the area musicians that he knows and works with. So having said that, go out and enjoy the show while it brings, it'll be an enjoyable show, but again, shining a light on a very, very serious subject that is close to Dave's heart. Again, just search it in the search feed of your of your Facebook page under Music United or Concert Against Teen Bullying and Suicide, August 4th, from 11 a.m. till, well, they stop. It's going to run all day pretty much to about 10 p.m. Now, who I am speaking with on this episode is Elizabeth Tighe, a singer-songwriter out of Phoenix. She will be performing a song or two, and also the group Insomniacs. You can find out information on Elizabeth at elizabethtighe.com, and her name is spelled Tighe. And for the Insomniacs, under Facebook, Insomniacs Official Band. That's going to be the first half. I might break it up. Like I said, the other group was Iron Kill, a heavy metal band out of the Phoenix Valley, and another singer-songwriter, Ciara Cisneros. So I might break that up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet. So stick around and follow on milehighshow.com to see exactly how that happens. And And you'll be as surprised as I am. So, but make note to show up August 4th for the concert against teen bullying and suicide at the Boys and Girls Club in Prescott, Arizona. So sit back and enjoy my rather lengthy conversation. One thing I forgot, this episode was recorded at Metro Recording. Thank you to Billy and Daniel, the owners of Metro Recording. You can find them on Facebook under Metro Recording and on Instagram at Metro Recording. They're located on 28th Drive near the Metro Center in Phoenix, 10640 North 28th Drive, Suite B106. Metro Recording. Thank you, gentlemen, for letting us take up space and sit down with these great young artists. Introduce yourself. Tell me who you are.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Tighe, and I'm a singer, songwriter, musician from here in Arizona.
Give me your anywhere where people can find you. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever.
You can plug my name into Google and my website and Facebook and such will come up, but you can also do it directly. You can look me up on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Like I said, I have a website, iTunes, Spotify. I'm kind of everywhere.
Spell your last name for me.
Tighe. It's Irish.
Nice.
It's a little weird.
I met a young lady last week. Same last name.
Really?
From Phoenix. She's a stand-up comic.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll get Dave the info because it's not a very common
No, it's
name.
actually, it's a family name. So unless somebody stole it, which I don't think anybody has, it most likely means I'm related probably very distantly, but to
and
whoever
oddly
has
enough,
that name.
Also a performer here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I pronounced her name incorrectly. And she corrected me on that, and it was Tighe. That's why it clicked.
Okay.
She's a performer here in Phoenix. She's a stand-up comic.
That's so interesting.
On the scene. So first off, if anything that we say, if you don't want to comment on it, or if it's something you don't want out there, feel free just to tell me to shut up, and we're good to go. How old are you?
I'm 17.
How long have you been playing? Because you are very accomplished. That song. What was it that you played us?
It was an original. It was called Gold Rush.
Beautiful voice.
Thank
beautiful
you.
Guitar playing.
Thank you.
And I have no musical ability whatsoever. I am jealous of people that can play, because those of you that can and that are accomplished at what you do in your art form make it look so easy, like there's no effort. Now, I know for a fact many hundreds and hundreds of hours go into perfecting your art form, but when you play, and when I sit down and record with musicians quite a bit for the podcast, and when you guys make it look so effortlessly, it makes me ill, and I don't like it, and I get angry because I can't play for anything. I've tried. I've told this story a few times on the podcast. As a second grader, long before probably your mom was born, when I was a kid, I wanted to play. For some reason, I wanted to play saxophone.
That was an instrument when I was around that age. I wanted to play saxophone.
Why? What was?
Really,
and then I'll tell you why I wanted to.
Really, mainly it was because I wanted to play the Pink Panther theme song. Is that the
Henry Mancini?
Yeah, really, that was the main reason. I mean, I thought it sounded cool in general, and I had done some music before then, so I liked music in general. But that was kind of the main reason for that instrument, was that I wanted to play the Pink Panther theme on the saxophone.
The first time in our public school in the San Francisco Bay Area that we were allowed to try band was second grade, and I begged my parents to let me sign up because they would give you an instrument for free. You know, that was part of the class. No, can't do it. So I begged and begged and begged. By the time I finally wore them down and they said, go, yes, you can sign up. I went in, no saxophones left. Okay, maybe guitar. No guitars left. Piano, but there was only one piano in the back. No, already taken. Trumpet, I think. I went through the whole list, and then they had like 3 instruments left. They were all violins. And
I was thinking triangle.
No, I probably would, and you'll know why, because I probably wouldn't be able to do that. I said, well, thanks, but no thanks. I go home. My mom is, where's your saxophone? I said, they were all out. well, where's your instrument? You're playing something. I said, no, they're all out of instruments. So she called the school and found out that violin was left. So I went back to school, walked up the block, got my violin, and practiced every day for about 3 weeks until our first recital as 7-year-olds. And I didn't want to do it because I was horrible. And my dad hadn't heard me practice. And the recital was on Monday, so Saturday afternoon he made me sit down and listen to me practice. He listened to me and I was begging, please don't make me, please don't make me. You begged us to play, you're going to play at that recital. So he listened to me play for 5 minutes, and I was so bad, he said, okay, you don't have to play. And that was my musical journey of 3 weeks of violin.
That's terrible, but you only played for 3 weeks.
No, and
violin, that's the hardest instrument just about you could possibly pick. It's going to take longer than that to sound like a virtuosic player.
In the many, many years since then, people have heard me sing and have said, we are glad you never pursued that violin because you have no musical ability whatsoever.
Elizabeth, how long have you been performing live?
I've been playing... performing live in some context, like, since I was 3, but doing it like this, we'll say, 10 or 11, yeah.
Since you were 10 or 10 or 11 years?
No, since I was 10 or 11.
About 7 years or so?
Yeah.
Why guitar? How did you gravitate to the guitar?
It was not my first instrument.
What was first?
Well, piano and voice were kind of first, but I had a slightly different but kind of somewhat similar childhood experience with piano, where I started taking piano lessons when I was 5, and the music teacher told my parents that I was so bored in it that I needed to maybe do something else, because I couldn't sit, I couldn't practice, I couldn't do it at age 5.
Was that with everything or just the piano? I guess we should probably ask Mom. Mom's hiding in the corner over there.
No, when you're 5, you're not particularly patient in any extent, I think. But piano, it just, the little kiddie songs they had you play, I just was like, honestly, if there had been a way of, like, you can play Beethoven at some point, if somebody had really, like, pushed me in that direction, I think it would have been better. But I just was so bored with that.
Were you picking it up? Was that why you were bored? Were you already?
Yeah, I found it really easy, the stuff that they gave, and it's just, I just couldn't sit still and practice like they wanted me to, and I've never really been good at that, to be honest. But so piano and voice were kind of my first thing, and I did voice in choir for some years as well, and then I did saxophone. Actually, in middle school band, that was my first band instrument, and then I did guitar. So that was like kind of fourth musical endeavor. Wow. But I got to a point where I decided, I want to do this as my career. I want to do this as my job. However, that is necessary, and I love writing, and I love, so I probably need to play guitar, because that's kind of the instrument that everybody plays, and that's one of the few instruments you can play and sing at the same time. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to learn guitar. And I really liked Taylor Swift at that time as well. So that was kind of like, okay, she played guitar, so I'm gonna play guitar. Like, we're gonna try to do that. Do
you come from a musical family, a musical background, or are you the oddball?
Well, no, my mom sings and plays some piano, but not. I don't have any family members that have done it like I've done it.
To pursue it as a serious art form.
Yeah.
Other than hobbyists kind of playing for their own enjoyment and things. Yeah,
I've never had somebody who's done it professionally in my family.
So Taylor Swift, that's your main influence. That and Henry Mancini, that's kind of a broad. Mix.
Well, Taylor Swift was my influence definitely when I was much younger, and then I kind of.
That whetted the appetite, kind of got excited.
Well,
yeah,
and it was kind of, and she tells a similar story about LeAnn Rimes, but where that was like, but I saw her and Michael Jackson, interestingly, where I saw these people and they're like, okay, they did this when they were really young, when they were either kids or they were, and so it's like, okay, so it's possible for me to start doing it at a young age, and it sort of it showed that to me. It displayed it in a way that was, this is possible.
Nice. Now the songwriting, what do you draw from? What story are you trying to tell?
A lot of different ones.
Yeah.
Songwriting for me is very organic. I don't really have a prescribed way of writing. It's sort of just, I get this feeling like, okay, I think I can write something. I think there's something in me that kind of needs to come out in this way. And so sometimes I don't really know what the song is about until I finished it, which is kind of interesting. And especially as I've continued to write, because I've found that my songs have become kind of more abstract and metaphorical in the lyrics. And so I sort of get to the end, or I might have a kernel of an idea, but I get to the end and I'm like, okay, I really see the whole picture now that I finished this thing.
Nice. Now, I'm fascinated by that. I like to fancy myself as a storyteller. I'm a photographer by trade. That's what I've done since I was younger than you. My first photo jobs, I was barely in high school, working for a local newspaper, and I try and tell stories through my photos. And then in the last 15 or so years, I have gravitated to the written form as a reporter, and I've written some fiction and things. But again, like I said, I'm fascinated by musicians. I'm fascinated by songwriters. And one of the things, this is, me and Dave share some of the same time frames. I think we're about the same age. I don't know. Yeah. And long before MTV, before music videos, I would play records, strap on the headphones as a kid and listen to songs. And I would, before, like I said, before music videos, I would kind of formulate the story of what this song means and the story it's telling, and then I'd hear what the songwriter, like on what was Don Kirshner's rock concert? You remember the old days? Or I'd see him on a talk show, and they would tell what it was, and it was. I said, no, that's not what it is. I have what your song means in my head, but that's kind of the beauty of music and songs. They'll mean something to me. They'll mean something completely different to Dave, and then they mean something completely different to the songwriter.
Well, yeah, no, I completely agree, and that's why I've always really enjoyed people who write songs in an abstract way, or that's very metaphorical.
Who are some of those that you enjoy?
Well, Pink Floyd, "Fearless" by Pink Floyd. That's probably one of my favorite songs ever. Which is not a particularly, I don't want to say popular, but it's played as. Yeah. But I just think
not one of the hits.
That's my favorite of their songs, and I just think it's so poignant and kind of beautiful in the way they wrote it. Counting Crows, I actually really like kind of the abstract nature of the way that they write their lyrics. Because it's very metaphorical, and so you can kind of, and I like that because I see things in my head.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing when I'm writing, that I see things as I'm writing the music. It's very visual. I can see colors and images and all sorts of things like that associated with what I'm writing. And every song that I've written in my head has a color.
That is fascinating. Do you know the artist Chuck Hall by any chance? Blues guitarist in the. Do you know Chuck?
Yeah.
We can't hear you because you're sitting on your microphone. Yeah. For a musician, you really are not that savvy when it comes to microphone. Chuck Hall is in the Arizona Music Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And associated with the Phoenix Blues Society. He is incredible, an incredible guitarist, and he has kind of relocated up to the Prescott area, and he plays a lot up there, but he's also in and around Phoenix quite a bit. I sat in on an interview with a musician up there, Sky Conwell, who was kind of doing some of these interviews for me for a while. Yeah, good guy. And as a kid, his blues idol was Chuck Hall. And so he got a chance to interview Chuck, and he mentioned that exact same thing. He says his music, when he's right, it's all color related, and it's just fascinating that I had never really thought of that until I heard Chuck say it.
Well, it's actually there's a name for it. It's not really a condition, because that's not the right word for it, but it's and I actually, interestingly enough, studied this a little bit in middle school, but it's really common with people who are artistic where they blend their senses. And so for me, sound and visual and colors are blended together, and a lot of musicians have that where they see both, and you can do it with different senses. But yeah, it's actually a
does your songwriting, does your playing gravitate to a certain color palette? Or do you mix it up?
Well, it depends on the chords, and it depends on the feeling and the topic of the song.
It doesn't matter. It's all right, Dave. Make as much noise as you want.
I'll just sit on my microphone.
But yeah, it depends on what I'm writing about. Like I have one song that's very kind of. It's kind of dreamy, and if you've ever heard like Debussy's stuff, it's kind of has those. There's a little bit of dissonance in the chord patterns, not quite to that extent, but in a similar kind of way, in my mind at least, where it's almost impressionistic the way that it sounds.
Nice.
And so for that, it's very like calming colors, like purples and blues, and this very. But then I have other songs where it's like, you know, an orange or bright red or something like that, and it just depends on how it sounds and what it's about, and it has a different color.
Very interesting. So go ahead, Dave.
I believe you have a song on your second CD that is something about red.
Yeah, it's called Buried in Red. So it actually has the color in the title, which I don't think I have any others with the color in the title.
Of that song?
That actually is.
I figured it was.
It's the color of the song. Yeah.
So where can folks, your website again, give it please?
So it's just ElizabethTighe.com. So Tighe, and then Elizabeth, just traditional spelling.
What do you have in the way of releases? You said your Spotify, iTunes, and stuff, but physical CDs you'd mentioned?
Yeah, I have. The first CD I released, I didn't do it on digital platforms. I have a single that's from quite a few years ago now that was on that album that's out on iTunes that you can get. But I have a CD that is available for sale on my website, and you can get downloads of that too. But then I have my newer CD, which is just an EP, which I released about a year ago. A little longer. That one you can get on Spotify and iTunes. Nice. and Google Play and Amazon and iHeartRadio. All
I've
that stuff.
seen some of the photos on that CD.
And your the hub for social media, your downloads, links, and everything at your website.
Yeah, it's on my website, and again, you can just plug my name into any social media or Google me, and like Twitter and Facebook, I think at least come up. And if you keep scrolling, you can get to Instagram and YouTube and that kind of stuff.
All right, and we'll put links in the show notes as well.
Okay, great.
One of the reasons why we came down today, and to meet you, of course, and to hear you play, but it's an association with the show Dave's putting on up in Prescott. Dave, tell us a little bit, and it'll be recapped in our outro and our intro, and it'll come up as we're meeting with the artists here. But give us a little, since this is the first segment, Dave, you give us a little background of what the show is, when it is, how folks can find out about it.
Okay, first of all, I'm David Cottle with Music United, and I am a photographer as well, like Matt. A little bit different,
but older.
That I do.
I was very kind when I said we were the same age, but I think I've seen you on the History Channel.
I just look at brother. I've earned my gray. But I still have it.
The 20s were not good to you, and by that I mean the 1920s.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was there. I saw Jesus.
How old are you, Dave? I'm joking.
55. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 52. You got a year or two on me. Go ahead.
Anyway, so about a year ago, I had.
You do get the discount at Golden Corral. Go ahead. Never mind.
Are they
55?
Picture shows 60, so I got to lie. No, let's see. What were we talking about?
The show. When's it coming up? August 4th?
It is August 4th, and it is a fundraiser to help raise awareness for teen suicide and teen bullying. Both are very much issues that teens face, probably now more than ever, because you don't get a break from bullying because you have social media and you're like live and active every time. And when you and I were in school, we deal with the bully on the playground, and
we had to bully the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, well, you were the bully. I was hiding from you.
No.
And and so we I just had this thing. I've met all these great young people. and people like Sky. I knew Sky from
Yeah.
well before my accident. But and I had this kind of vision of something I want to do for Prescott area youth, but I didn't know what. And then
Eat them.
our Dara Shinnok died by suicide in March, and she had been a little bit older than my
Prescott
daughter.
student?
Yes.
Prescott High School?
No, she went to Skyview and then North Point.
North Point.
And
okay.
I had met her mom a few times. And anyway, it just became, this is what we want to do. We want to raise some awareness that this is a problem. And these days it seems like everyone has mental health issues. I know I do. And but as a teen, that becomes very hard to deal with, although I'm now in the second highest suicide bracket. So anyway, it came about, and all these people you're going to hear from today and everyone at the show is they're like, Dave, we're in. Whatever your cause is, you're doing it, we're in.
How did you get involved with this? And why?
Basically kind of what he said. He had been talking about doing a fundraiser in general for a while, and I was just like, yeah, whatever you want to do, whatever you can come up with to do, I'd love to be a part of it.
Now,
So,
are you still in school now?
I actually just graduated high school.
From where?
Arcadia.
Arcadia. What were they? What are the Arcadia whats?
Trojans? Yeah.
She's not sure.
I went to a couple different high schools. So
Gotcha.
She's played Prescott a few times. She's played the Charlotte Hall
nice.
Folk
yeah,
Festival.
the folk festival, which is one of my favorites. I
Do
love
you have
playing
some
there.
regular spots people can catch you live here in the Phoenix area? Or just hit the website and follow along?
Yeah, probably to look at the website is better, because there are some things that are kind of impromptu that I'll come up
Gotcha.
with sometimes, and some things that can be more regular, but it just
Yeah.
sort of depends. So I have all my shows on my website, and I'm on Bands in Town, so if anybody out there has a Bands in Town account, you can look me up on there.
Okay. Well, how about we want to get to the other folks out there? What are you going to play for us? And we'll close out this segment with your with what you're going to play. Tell us what you're going to play.
This is an original song. It's one of my newer ones, so it's not on a release yet, but might be at some point coming up here. We'll see. Yes.
What's it titled?
It's called Gold Rush.
Good.
There's a gold rush coming in. You know it ain't the wild honey. It's the money that you fear. I got something up my sleeve, built to last and born to bleed. They say one drop is all you need. And who the hell are they to judge? They only buy the gilded ones. At least I don't need gold-plated love. 'Cause the good Lord left you far before you left the church. And I got money, but I just don't know what the hell it's worth. Well, they're crying in the kitchen to that sweet old sound of a dreamlike vision as it hits the ground. It's the ground. She moves like a hurricane, built by the summer rains, propelled by the cruel winds blowing. They say to stand in silent praise, but I don't buy the grand charade of mocking what's a poor man's game. 'Cause the good Lord left you far before you left the church. And I got money, but I just don't know what the hell it's worth. Well, they're crying in the kitchen to that sweet old sound of a dreamlike vision as it hits the ground. It's the ground. And who the hell are they to judge? They only buy the gilded ones. At least I don't need gold-plated love. 'Cause the good Lord left you far before you left the church. And I got money, but I just don't know what the hell it's worth. Well, they're crying in the kitchen to that sweet old sound of a dreamlike vision as it hits the ground. It's 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 the goddamn ground running. There's a gold rush coming here. You know it ain't the wild honey. It's the money that we fear.
That was beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again. One more time, your website.
ElizabethTighe.com, Tighe.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to seeing you up in Prescott. Who you are, we want to make sure folks know how to find out information on the band. So whatever social media, website, Instagram, Spotify, Bandcamp, whatever you got, let's get that right off the bat. Don't whisper.
Sorry.
But you got to talk into the mic.
Are we already on right now?
We're recording.
Oh.
We've been recording since you said cheese is good or bad or whatever.
I don't know if Dave told you the name of the podcast is Cheese USA. It's
Cheese USA.
All curds, all the time.
Oh.
Is what
Oh my gosh, it's my dream.
You guys must be related.
Levi,
Yes.
what's the name of the band? Where can folks find out about you? Where can they find out where you're playing and where they can hear your music?
So we are the Insomniacs, and you can't find us anywhere. We hate social media. No, I'm just kidding. So we have an Instagram account. We do hate social media, but we also need it. So we have an Instagram account. Type in Insomniacs. If that doesn't work, we're Insomniacs Official Band.
Okay.
Same with our Facebook, Insomniacs Official Band. We have a website, www.insomniacs something. You'll be able to find it.
Like Wix site,
Yeah, it's like
something.
a Wix site / Insomniacs. You'll find it or you won't.
I'll track it down and put a link in the show notes.
Thank you. We have a card with all the stuff on
Our
it. And
Instagram's
then,
actually Insomniacs_band.
Insomniacs _ for our Insta. Leah,
Thanks
You
for
wanna
your
do this?
technicality.
Tell you what.
kidding.
Let's start with the brains of the outfit. Leah,
Yeah.
let's
No,
go. We'll go this direction. Introduce yourself. Who are you? We
My
already
name's-
know you hate cheese.
I don't hate cheese, but my name is
Wisconsin will not listen to it. We'll get 0 downloads in Wisconsin.
Leah. My name's Leah, and I'm the bass player.
Just Leah? Is that like Cher, Madonna?
Yep.
You're just Leah?
Leah.
Bass player. Okay. This gentleman here with the hair that I'm afraid of and jealous of all at the same time.
What about me?
Who are you?
I don't know who I am. Still finding out.
Still
who
finding
I am.
out. Obviously, we've just introduced the drummer, is what we're.
Yeah, this is Mr. Hudo. Yeah. And I'm the drummer.
Stefan,
That's
is
my
that,
story.
That's what's your name?
It's actually Stefan.
Stefan.
But we-
Yeah, like
call him
Steven
Mr.
Stefan.
Yeah. But we call him Mr. Hudo.
Mr. Hudo, where's that come from? Where's that from?
It's
a
my
mystery.
last name.
Oh,
And never mind, it's not a
okay.
mystery anymore.
Yeah.
And this is Levi,
This
the
is
guitar
Levi,
player.
the
Levi
guitar
who?
player. Levi Rohr.
What? How do you spell that?
ROHR.
Okay. Why does that sound familiar?
Do we know each other?
No, probably not. No, I think there's a corporation
Is it really?
by that. Yeah.
Huh.
I'm picturing the logo in my head. Anyway, you guys all from here in the valley?
Sort of. We are. And Stefan is vicariously through us, but
Moved
Yeah.
through a few states, but I lived here the longest.
What generated the moves?
The moves?
Yeah.
Well, when I was 5, my parents moved out here just because my grandparents live out here.
Yeah. From where?
The Bay Area.
Oh, whereabouts?
Mountain View.
Mountain View. I'm Hayward, born and raised.
Nice.
Worked in Mountain View in Sunnyvale, Santa Clara, San Jose for a lot of years.
It's a nice area.
It's a great area to be from. I can't. We go back. We've been out here. My wife and I moved out here in 04. And it's just the traffic. I mean, I literally start getting anxiety attacks when we hit like Livermore off the 5 because the traffic starts building. And then I pull over, let her drive, and we go the rest of the way. I can't take it anymore. As I get older and older and older, there's nothing
much
to go.
older.
Coming from the guy who gets, we discussed it already. You already get the discount at Golden Corral, so don't knock it.
Yeah.
Old man Cottle. Why didn't we get the good parking out front? We had to park in the regular spots. You didn't bring your placard.
The limos took up all the
So you moved to Arizona at 5?
Yeah,
You
around 5 years old.
Do you go back and forth a lot still, or no? Do you got family back there?
Yes, I actually have my dad's side of the family. Most of the family's out there in the Bay Area.
Very nice.
And yeah, so
I was out there in March for a family deal and couldn't wait to get back.
Yeah.
I like coming
crowded.
down. I'm in Phoenix quite a bit for interviews and stuff. But a small town. I moved from Hayward was small enough that we didn't get on the news weather maps, for the evening news for the weather. They just skipped right over us because we were too small. At 150,000 was too small to make the map, and I moved to the northern area from a small town in the Bay Area of 150,000 to Paulden, which at the time was 3,900. So that was a big culture. I didn't like it at first. It took a little bit getting used to it. And now I'm in the big city of Chino Valley, 10,000. We're big.
Yeah.
That's a big town.
that's a big
for us.
difference.
So what? Big family, small family, brothers, sisters? What do you got?
Yes, my mom's side of the family is actually pretty small.
Yeah.
Just the immediate family.
Yeah.
On my dad's side, I have a few cousins living out there.
But you only child, or you got siblings?
I have an older brother and an older sister.
Yeah. How much older? What's the
My
spread?
brother, I believe he's 23, and my sister's 22.
Oh, okay. Not too.
I'm the runt.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 20.
20. Oh, so you're all pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Musical family, or just you? Are you the lone crazy musician?
I tapped a lot when I was a kid, so my parents got me a drum set.
Yeah.
And I
I
started.
thought you meant you had the shoes.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Senile old man. But
I've never seen Stomp. Stomp's amazing.
so picked up at what age? When did you start drumming? I mean, seriously, getting to where you learn drumming and not just banging pots and pans.
It was 15 or 16 years old.
Oh, okay. So you've been playing about five or so years.
Yeah.
Was your first drum? Did it have a picture of a Barbara Bush on it? No,
yes.
that's the Quaker
did.
Oat. The Quaker Oats thing.
Big time. No.
That's an old. They don't even know who Bush is.
I don't
Never
know who
mind.
that is, but
The former President Bush Senior, his wife, looked a lot like the old white-haired man that's on the Quaker Oat box. So that's what our drums were when we were kids. The old oatmeal boxes. So you're the only musician playing in your family, pretty much.
yeah, my dad played the saxophone. So
Pro-
Again.
professionally or hobby or
no, he just in his 20s, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I maybe it was just a high school thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was pretty good.
Nice.
I think he lost his touch though. He's not into it anymore.
And Levi, how about you?
What about
Big
me?
family, small family?
Pretty small family.
Yeah. Musical family at all, or
Not really at all. Just me and my sister.
Oh, you guys are siblings.
Yeah.
I
I'm
did
his
not know
sister.
that.
Yeah, we're-
Oh, okay. I'm learning things. So, what's the age difference between you guys?
So I'm 18.
I'm 15.
You're 15 years old.
Yes, I am.
My goodness. Okay, Dave. How long you been playing?
About 3 years.
Wow. We were talking about this with Miss Tighe, Elizabeth. I have zero musical ability whatsoever. And I'm jealous of people who can play, and it amazes me how people can. And I know this isn't the fact, but you guys, when good musicians play, they make it look so easy and like there's no effort involved. And I know there's thousands and thousands of hours into practice and honing your craft, except for drummers. But when I watch musicians play, it's that jealousy just weird because I can barely play the radio in the car, and I messed that up quite a bit. So you've been playing at what, 12?
Yeah, that's when I joined the band.
Bass? Is that why'd you pick bass? What was
Because guitar's too hard.
too many strings? I need 4. Four's my max. But that's the backbone. That, and unfortunately the drummer with the wild hair. That's what from an outsider anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always been told that's kind of what everybody else plays off of. Is
Your
that correct?
band is as strong as your bass player.
Think of a
It's
band
really
like
true.
a pie.
I
The
think
bass
about
is like
pie
the crust.
quite a bit.
And like,
Actually-
so everyone like ignores it until it's gone, and then the pie falls apart.
Yeah. So how is that playing with your sister?
It's good and
Fighting?
bad.
Yeah.
It's bad a lot.
It's
but
wonderful.
No, I'm just kidding. It's actually surprisingly good. It helps us not be at each other's throats at all.
Really?
We don't really have creative differences or anything. We're usually on the same wavelength.
Now, traditionally, typically in bands, going back through generations, guitarist, vocalist, they're the front men. They're the guys that kind of drive the band. Is that the case here? Is he the egomaniac? I guess is what I'm
I
saying.
am
Is Levi the
an egocentric maniac.
egomaniac? Yeah. And how long have you been playing?
I've been playing guitar about 5 years now.
Yeah. So so you've got him beat already. By the
Yeah.
time you're 20, you will be taking over this band. Why Insomniacs? Why did you pick that?
A couple reasons. One, we never slept as children. Like we were always up. And then the other reason, which was a really just coincidental good reason, is that our favorite band is Green Day collectively, all
Yeah.
three of us. And one of our favorite albums by them is called Insomniac.
Yeah.
So we're the Insomniacs.
Nice. Now, what's the breakdown of what you guys play? Covers, originals, good mix. What are you doing?
I'd say it's majority originals now,
Nice.
but there's a good mix in there.
Did you start out as kind of playing Green Day?
Yep.
Is that what you guys
Yeah.
were doing?
That's what we
Yeah.
started with.
It's what we still do
now,
sometimes.
they broke early 90s
Yep.
before you guys were born.
About 5 years.
I remember seeing them. We were talking a little bit off mic earlier. They were just kids. Didn't know who they were. Obviously, they were good, but then jump forward a few years, and I'm looking through old contact sheets that what now would be called a hard drive, I guess. And people were telling me, "Hey, did you shoot these guys?" I'm like, "Yeah, who's that? I don't know." Just old stuff in a drawer over at that club on Gilman. They were just local neighborhood rats hanging out and playing.
And then Longview came out. Wasn't that the first single, or was that the second? For Green Day, first album.
They weren't born yet. I don't.
I wasn't born yet.
That was their first single, right?
I think Longview was the first single. I don't know for a fact.
Why'd
though.
Green Day grab you guys? Why was that the seminal group for you
So
guys?
many reasons.
Hit
They're
a
awesome.
couple.
All right.
Yeah?
Well, the main one for me is like the message that Billy Joe is always putting out in all his music. He's always talking about camaraderie and
Yeah.
how, like, if all of us could just get together and go to a concert and stuff, there wouldn't be all this hate and war, and we'd all forget about that together. It doesn't matter what religion, what sex you are, what gender. I just said the same thing. What sex you are and what gender you are. But I meant what's your sexual preference by the other one by that.
They are
But-
separate now. Sex and gender are not the same.
It's like that all just melts away, and there's just like a family within his music. And also, he's a lyrical genius.
Yeah.
It's just it blows my mind. I always try to strive to meet what his expectations would
Yeah.
be, and I'm always like, nah. Why do I? I'm like, why am I even trying?
Now you've
Dude, you're a
obviously
great songwriter.
Oh,
yeah
Mr. Hudo.
you've obviously you're familiar with how he came up.
Yeah.
What are some of his influences? And did that turn you on to going back another generation to it always like I said, I'm fascinated by musicians. So when I hear if I enjoy listening to somebody, I automatically want to know, well, who influenced them,
Right.
And then you jump back generation to generation. Were there some who were some of the artists, songwriters, musicians that you discovered because of who influenced you?
Well, some of his biggest influences, and I didn't discover these first two because of him, but were the Beatles, obviously, the Who, and then one of them was Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
And actually, that has influenced my songwriting a bit, believe it or not, more so than I'd say. Taking a step back, the Beatles obviously influence all music. So saying the Beatles didn't influence me is garbage, because that's obviously wrong. They have. And the same with the Who. But some of our songs have a little bit of a twang to them.
Yeah.
And I say that's probably because of Chuck Berry.
And that's who influenced Lennon and McCartney.
Yeah.
And Richard's grown up in the what'd they call that, Dave? Skiffle bands? Are you familiar with that?
You're older than I am, so I don't remember.
Kill that mic. Skiffle. I read who was the drummer for the Stones?
Charlie Watts.
Yeah, Watt. I read a book that Watts put out, and he talked about, and I had never heard that term before, skiffle bands. They basically playing on garbage can lids and cigar box guitars on the street corners in Liverpool and London back in the 50s, and they were playing Chuck Berry, Elvis, and the old blues. And I had never heard that term, skiffle band, before. And it was just the kids playing on homemade instruments, and they would play like the local, youth hall, or, 12, 13, 15-year-old kids playing these old blues and rockabilly covers, making those artists famous in London when they couldn't book the fair circuits in their home country. And just that, seeing how that influence kind of just circles back around, and now it's coming up to 18-year-old kids out of Phoenix playing where you guys are playing. Where can folks find you on stage?
Well, we try to play anywhere we can, but the main places are the Rebel Lounge in Phoenix. We've played Tempe Marketplace a few times, Westgate a couple times, Club Red, the Nile Underground. We haven't played the Nile Theater yet, but the Nile Underground. Not
familiar with the Nile, but Rebel, I know they do some comedy shows there as well.
Do they really?
Yeah,
that's
but there's a lot of music coming through Rebel. You guys ever? You'd mentioned. What?
I'm old. It's the Mason Jar to me still.
Oh, the Rebel Lounge. Yeah.
You guys, I kind of overheard it as we were setting up. You mentioned, was it the Crescent? Did you bring up the Crescent? Okay, that's a neat little spot, man. I like it. I didn't even realize it was a big room in the back until I had been there 3 or 4 times, because I've seen some acts in the very front, in the front bar, in the food area.
We haven't played the Crescent.
No,
yet.
No, not yet.
Tell me a little bit about, we've talked to Dave a little bit about the show coming up in Prescott. You guys are going to be on stage there for that?
Yes, we will.
August 4th. What's it called again, Dave?
I have to remember. Concert against teen suicide and bullying.
All right. Why'd you guys associate yourself with this show?
For going back to the same reasons I was talking about, Billy Joe, talking about camaraderie and trying to promote a good message. This is something that affects a lot of people that don't have anywhere else to go and stuff. And this is something that I want to be a part of, and something that we all want to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We want to have, like, we love playing music, but we also want it to, like, have a message.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we're playing it and we love it, but what are you doing it for? It's like we want to stand for something.
Who you guys collaborate?
Better said than me.
Yeah. You got
the brains of the band.
Exactly. We already discussed that, and it's pretty obvious.
Nah.
As for the originals, you do how do you collaborate as far as the writing goes? Does somebody handle the lyrics and then you jump in for the music? What's the process?
I think everyone's pointing and kicking at me. So I write the main guitar and the vocals, and then I come up with like an outline in a sense, and then I let them put their own twists and their touches on it. So I'll give Lee an outline for the bass, and then she puts in her own hammer-ons and these fills and stuff. Not fills, I mean bass lines and stuff. And then I was jumping ahead of myself. Then I give Stefan like a basic outline for the drums, and then he fills in with his own touch, the fills and like the little details.
Do you have, or does it change? Do you have a process for coming up with the lyrics first, telling the story first, or do you build that around a tune that's floating around in your head? What is there a set process, or is it fluid?
It's really fluid. It's the most cliche answer in the world is that it's like, it depends, what comes to me first. But usually it's the lyrics for me. Usually I get inspired by something I hear or see or something that has happened to me previously in my life, and for some reason something has evoked that same feeling or emotion. And then I'll write a couple stanzas of lyrics. I'm like, wow, I like these. And then I put them aside. I don't ever I don't ever write the music for that like specific song.
Gotcha.
And then sometimes I'll have a moment where I'm like, ooh, I got a cool idea in my head for a riff, and I'll go in and write the guitar riff. And then if I feel like the emotion of that fits the same emotion of lyrics, I try to put them together. And sometimes it can't work that way, but that's usually the process I go for.
Interesting. Now, back in the olden days, we carried notebooks. What do you write on? Do you write pen and paper?
Yeah, just any piece of paper I can find.
Gotcha.
I have a big. Do you see the stack outside the door of my room?
We have this basket of just papers.
Yeah.
And then I'll just pull from it every now and then.
Nice little ideas. Years ago, but it's just long before you guys were born. I did a lot of work for stand-up comics, headshots and things, and I used to do a little stand-up in the Bay Area way back when. And we had, I would come sometimes at night, usually the next morning, and I would have cocktail napkins in different pockets. And sometimes they would make sense. Sometimes they would work their way into bits. And sometimes they were, I couldn't read them. I didn't know what it said. But I would wake up often, and this still continues. I do some fiction writing now and short stories and things. And thoughts will come to me at 3, 4 in the morning, and I'll wake up. And I have notebooks and pens scattered around the bedroom, and then my wife cleans up and hides them, and I never find them again because she's organized them. I'm not. But I'll wake up and scratch down a word or a phrase, something that'll come to me, and more often than not, when I revisit it and I look at it later, I have zero idea what it meant, and it ends up in the trash.
Yeah.
Can you now, when I'm doing something, say, for instance, for a short story or something? I will, if the idea doesn't come back to me and I've got this phrase or this word or this sentence that at 4 in the morning 3 days ago was the next great American novel and it was fully formulated and it was the best thing ever, I have no idea what it is. I can't go back and reuse that because it doesn't make sense to me. Are you able to take a fragment of something and have it mean something completely different, revisit it, rework it into something that was nowhere near the original idea? Or are you able to keep that thought train going?
So that exact same thing you were just talking about has happened to me a few times where I write like this one stanza there. So I'm like, I'm so excited about this. And then like I put it aside in the pile, and then 2 weeks later I'm like, what does this mean? This is garbage.
This is not the Grammy Award winner I thought it was.
How late was it? Like, anyway. But no, usually whenever I have that moment of like inspiration, I will not go to bed until I have fully finished the thought, because I'm like, I can't forget this.
Oh man.
So, like, we just went to studio actually a few days ago and recorded our first album, and one of the songs on there is called Anthem. And that was a song that it was like 1 a.m. in the morning. It was like on New Year's Eve a couple of years ago. And I just had this idea. I was watching TV or something, and I was like, whoa, stop what I'm doing. I went into where we practice, and I just sat down, and I did not leave that room until the entire song was done.
Interesting.
Like, it was, all the song was coming so fast in my head, I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to write it down before I forgot it. All the chords and all the lyrics came at the same time. That
is much better discipline than anything that I've ever attempted to do. I prefer to find scrap paper and then try and figure out what it meant. It doesn't work that way.
I have a lot of lined papers from like binders and stuff from school that have a lot of like lines on them. And I'll pull them out, and they'll be like, is this important? Like, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
It was important.
It used to be, I used to be able to blame my bad handwriting on not being able to figure it out later. Well, it was 3 in the morning, and I scratched out. I still use notebooks, but just for ease, I've been using Evernote. I don't know if you guys use that. It's an app.
Oh, okay.
I got it on my phone. It's just a note-taking app for different things. And I have found that my handwriting is almost as bad as my typing, especially when I'm using little tiny. I have gone through, and as I'm typing it, I've read little notes, and it looked fine. And then when I look at it again, the typos aren't registering, and it's gibberish. And I'm like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm an idiot. That's come up a couple of times in these last.
I mean, I still type with my index fingers. So
Yeah. I used to get pretty. I was a hunt and peck typer with 2 fingers at like 45 words a minute back when I was with the newspapers full time. I was very fast at typing like this, but then it was still full of typos. My son looks at my handwriting sometimes, and when this is not a joke. About 3-4 years ago, I'm writing out some notes for him to take to preschool for his teacher. I guess they call him in preschool still. And he looked at me because he was just learning his lettering and stuff. And he's looking at me and he's looking at what I'm writing, and he goes, "Hey, Pop, are you sure you're right-handed?" That's how bad it was. So what you've got? You're working on an album now in studio.
Yep.
Where are you recording?
So there's this practice space called SER in Chandler. Uh-huh. It's just a place you can go rent out and practice with your band, but they're soundproof. So we're like, oh, it's a good idea. So then someone named Eric Kalina, he lives in Hollywood, and he contacted us about doing some recording with us, and we're like, yeah, let's do this. So we drove out, brought all his gear with him, set up the room to make it like a studio, and
Nice.
we hammered it out 3 13-hour days in a row, and we got it all 14 songs recorded.
Nice.
With
lot of
16
work.
minutes to spare.
We finished with 16 minutes to spare.
The meter was running.
Yeah.
When's it coming out? What do you?
Don't know.
Are you planning for a hard copy release,
Yes, yeah.
CDs that you can get at shows and digital
This year, for
downloads
sure.
and else? Yeah.
We're expecting mid to late October.
And you're leaving.
I am.
Is that what you're doing? Going to college?
No, I'm so
Leaving with an asterisk on it.
no, I actually live in Colorado, but I fly back and forth.
Oh my goodness.
I have the opportunity to be able to fly back and forth a lot, so it's not really that bad.
Stowaway, something you can't talk about on air.
Wait, what?
Just hide in the car luggage compartments or what?
He's carry on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
I don't know
how
if
do
I
you
can
work?
fit
Is
in-
this something you can talk about or no? How do you work on flying?
Top secret.
How am I able to fly somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, my dad, he travels a lot for work, so he gets he accumulates points.
Okay. I was really hoping for some nefarious illegal
Yeah.
story that we can talk about. That would be great. That would be.
I wish-
that would fit much better with your hair.
Next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell the cool story next time.
Think of one. Okay, but frequent flyer miles, we'll take it as long as it lets you come back here with the rest of the trio and perform. So we've got you slated for next Saturday, August 4th, to be up in Prescott playing for Dave's show entitled.
Well, we are Music United, and the show is titled Concert Against Teen Suicide and Bullying.
To get your message across, get some good vibes going, get people fired up about music, having a good time, keeping their heads straight. But where else can folks find you in and around the Phoenix area, or you got any shows lined
This
up?
Friday.
This will be out. So it was a great show tonight that you guys had. Where? Because this will go up Friday.
Oh,
So the show you did tonight was. We're in the green room. Where are you guys playing?
we just finished up killing it.
Shredding.
Shredding the stage with my power chords. At Club
broke,
Red
like-
in Mesa.
Club Red.
I broke like 3 heads.
and
Crazy, pretty crazy.
that's a place you frequent.
Yeah, pretty often.
So let's give Club Red a nice plug. You gonna play us a little something?
Yep.
And you're gonna play. Are you gonna play? Come on, bongos. Come on.
No.
I think it'll be good.
I'll just watch. This is their thing. This is a really good song.
The song's called Nowhere. It's also going to be off the new album we just recorded a few days ago.
Why hello there, I see you everywhere, but I don't know what to say. It feels like such a long time since I've felt this way. When now I think I'm stuck, and I feel I'm out of luck, 'cause now I'm on my own. When now I think I'm lost, and it feels like I've been crossed, 'cause now I'm on my own. Why hello there, Mr. Nowhere. It's nice to hear it. No sense of direction, just my flexion. It's just you and me. When now I think I'm stuck, and I feel I'm out of luck, 'cause now I'm on my own. When now I think I'm lost, then it feels like I've been crossed, 'cause now I'm on my own. Go! When now I think I'm stuck, and I feel I'm out of luck, 'cause now I'm on my own. When now I think I'm lost, then it feels like I've been crossed, 'cause now I'm on my own. 'Cause now I'm on my own. 'Cause now I'm on my